7 years had passed, a thought that struck Emily every morning like a quiet ache. Today, though, it weighed heavier, pressing against her chest. 7 years since her older sister, Sarah, disappeared on a Saturday route, leaving behind only unanswered questions and a house that felt too vast for one. Emily wound through the valley town's familiar streets, passing modest homes with chain-link fences and palm-dotted yards. She and Sarah had both worked part-time at USPS back then, juggling deliveries with classes at the career college up north. They'd shared everything: the small home their parents left after a tragic car crash, dreams of better jobs post-graduation, even matching USPS bikes for neighborhood routes on pleasant days. Sarah, though, had the real drive. While Emily wrestled with her business courses, Sarah shone in her nursing program, just 2 semesters shy of her degree when she vanished. That morning, Emily recalled, Sarah had been radiant, buzzing about moving in with her boyfriend, Jake, after school, excited for the baby they were expecting, planning a future that never arrived. The radio crackled, snapping Emily from her reverie. She pulled over to sort the next mail batch, her hands moving on autopilot. After Sarah's disappearance, life unraveled. The investigation stalled, no body, no clues, just a missing person case growing colder by the month. Emily tried to stick with school, but grief and stress overwhelmed her. She quit, took a full-time USPS job, and fell into a routine that felt like drifting through a dream. As she reached for the ignition, her supervisor's voice broke through the radio. Emily, call the base right away. Use the payphone at the Chevron on 5th. That was odd. Drivers weren't usually asked to call in unless something was amiss. Emily's hands shook slightly as she drove 3 blocks to the gas station. USPS rules banned personal cell phones on duty, so they tracked her via dispatch. The payphone receiver felt like a weight in her hand as she dialed. Her supervisor, Tom Bradley, picked up instantly. Emily, listen closely, he said, his tone softer than usual. The police just called. They found a USPS bike in the city canal. They think it might tie to Sarah's case. The world spun. Emily braced herself against the phone booth's metal frame. What? Where? The North Canal by the Expressway 83 overpass, Tom replied. City workers were draining it for maintenance, first time in years. One spotted the bike and reported it. The detectives want you there. I'll meet you. Emily barely recalled the drive. One moment she was at the gas station, the next she parked near the canal where yellow police tape cordoned off the concrete embankment. Tom's truck was there, alongside 2 cruisers and an unmarked sedan she recognized as Detective Mike Larson's, who'd handled Sarah's case 7 years prior. Tom greeted her as she stepped out. His lined face showed the weight of the moment. The detectives by the water asked for you when they saw the connection. They approached the canal's edge where Detective Larson stood with a city worker in a yellow vest. The detective looked older, gray streaking his dark hair, but his gaze remained sharp. Miss Thompson, he said, offering his hand. I wish this were under better circumstances. He nodded to the worker. This is Ethan Ruiz from City Maintenance. Ethan, tell Ms. Thompson what you shared. Ethan shifted, uneasy. We began draining the canal at dawn for routine upkeep. As the water dropped, I noticed something blue in the mud by the support pillar. Thought it was trash at first, but up close, I saw it was a bike with US Mail on it. Figured it might be stolen, so I called it in. Thanks, Emily said, her throat tight. Can I see it? Detective Larson nodded. They led her down the concrete slope. The canal was nearly dry, just murky puddles and layers of silt. Near a pillar, a forensics team in white coveralls worked around a blue bike pulled from the mud. Someone had brushed off the worst of the grime. Even from afar, Emily knew it, but she forced herself closer, noting the familiar USPS frame and mail baskets. The forensics teams processed it, Larson said. Water would have ruined any prints or DNA. Did you contact Jake? Emily asked abruptly. Jake Carter, Sarah's boyfriend? We have his number from the old file, Larson said. Left messages at his home and work. He's likely on his way. As if on cue, footsteps echoed behind them. Emily turned to see Jake hurrying down the embankment, still in his auto shop coveralls. 7 years had aged him, his face rounder, hair thinning, but his eyes mirrored her pain. "Emily," he panted. Tom called the shop. "Is it really?" Detective Larson stepped in. "Mr. Carter, thanks for coming. We're investigating, but we believe this bike may link to Sarah Thompson's disappearance." Jake stared at the bike, his face paling. "It's a USPS bike, sure, but how do you know it's hers? Don't they all look alike?" "Without ID or usable forensics, we can't be certain yet," Larson admitted. "We're checking with traffic for any 1997 surveillance footage from nearby intersections." The city had just installed cameras then. "We're also reviewing Sarah's case file." 7 years underwater, Jake muttered. "God. We'll keep you both posted," Larson said. "The bike's a lead, the first real one we've had." Tom approached Emily as the detective stepped away to talk with forensics. "Emily, take some time off, a few days at least. I'll cover your route. We'll get someone to fill in." Emily nodded, dazed. "Yeah, I think I need that." "Thanks, Tom. I'll drive the van back to the depot," Tom offered. "Your car's there, right?" "Yeah, I'll be fine." She glanced at Jake, who stared at the bike like it was a specter. "Jake, you okay?" He flinched, snapping back to reality. "Sorry, it's been so long. I almost convinced myself she left, started fresh somewhere. This makes it real, something awful happened." They stood quietly, watching the forensics team load the bike into an evidence van. 7 years of uncertainty, and now this. Emily wasn't sure if it was better or worse than the void of clues before. "We should catch up," Jake said at last. "It's been ages since we talked properly. Maybe we can support each other through whatever's next." Emily studied him. They'd grown distant after Sarah vanished, each grappling with loss differently. "Most of Sarah's stuff is still at your place, right?" She'd practically moved in. "Yeah," Jake said, voice rough. "I kept it all. Couldn't let go. But now maybe you should take it, Emily. I need to move forward. Living with her things, it's been eating me alive." Emily felt a spark of anger but swallowed it. Grief hit everyone differently. "I get it. I'll swing by after I grab my car from the depot. I'll head home now, start sorting things," Jake said. He glanced at the canal, then back at her. "I'm glad they called you. Sarah would have wanted you here." As Jake climbed the embankment, Emily turned to Tom. "I'm dropping the van off and getting my car. Let Detective Larson know I'm reachable at home if he needs me." "Got it. Take care, Emily." Emily climbed into the USPS van, the familiar streets blurring as she drove to the depot, her mind swirling with unanswerable questions. At the depot, Emily's thoughts still churned from the Canal's discovery. Tom waited by his truck, as promised. She handed over the van keys with a grateful nod. "Take as long as you need," he said, his calloused hand briefly on her shoulder. "We've got your back." In the locker room, Emily shed her USPS uniform, hanging it neatly in her locker, the routine feeling bizarre after the morning's upheaval. She slipped into jeans and a plain tee, grabbed her purse, and headed to her car, a trusty but worn 2001 Honda Civic. The drive to Jake's house wound through familiar East Side neighborhoods. She'd made this trip often in the months after Sarah vanished, she and Jake clinging to each other in shared sorrow. But over time, the visits dwindled, stopping entirely about 2 years back. Jake's ranch-style house looked unchanged. White stucco, red-tiled roof, a front yard begging for a mow. His work truck, Carter Auto Repair, fading on the side, sat in the driveway. Emily parked behind it, steadying herself before stepping out. The door opened before she could knock. Jake, now in jeans and a clean shirt, hair damp from a quick wash, stepped aside. "You got here quick," he said. "No point stopping home first," Emily replied. She froze in the living room. Cardboard boxes were stacked by the door, some taped shut, others open. She recognized Sarah's handwriting on labels: winter clothes, nursing books, baby items. "I started packing months ago, finished the rest when I got home," Jake said, running a hand through his hair. "Been meaning to do it, just couldn't face it till now." Emily knelt by an open box, seeing Sarah's nursing textbooks neatly packed. Grief surged, sharp and fresh, for her sister's unfulfilled dreams. "Thanks for holding on to it all," she said softly. "I know it wasn't easy." "Yeah, well," Jake said, shifting awkwardly. "Like I said at the canal, it's time to move on." Emily stood, brushing off her knees. "What about the private investigator?" "We plan to save up," she studied him. "We should have enough by now, right?" 3 years into the stalled investigation, they'd vowed to pool funds for a PI to dig where police hadn't. But good investigators cost a fortune, and saving on their wages was slow. Jake looked uneasy. "I've got my share saved, but things have changed. I might need that money for something else." "Something else?" Emily's temper flared. "What's more important than finding Sarah?" A car pulled up outside. The door swung open and a cheerful voice called, "Babe, I'm back." A woman entered, stopping short at the sight of Emily. About 30, with shoulder-length dark hair and a kind face, her pregnancy was evident, maybe 4 or 5 months along. "Oh," she said, her smile wavering. "Didn't know we had a guest?" Jake froze. "Lauren, I thought you were." "I texted about moving my stuff. Today's the only day I could borrow my cousin's truck." Lauren glanced between them, sensing the tension. "Right, sorry, haven't checked my phone." Jake gestured awkwardly. "It's been a wild morning." "Lauren, this is Emily, Sarah's sister." "Emily, this is Lauren." Lauren's face softened. "Sarah, the missing USPS driver. I remember the posters around town." Her hand rested on her belly. "I'm so sorry for what you've been through." Emily pieced it together. Jake's hesitation about the money, wanting Sarah's things gone. Now, a pregnant girlfriend moving in. "So, you're really moving forward?" she said, eyeing Jake. "That's why you want me to take her stuff and the money for this?" She nodded toward Lauren's stomach. "Emily, let me explain," Jake began. "No need," Emily cut in. 7 years is a long time. You deserve your happiness." "We've only been together a year," Lauren said quickly. "I'm moving in today. It's all pretty fresh." "Doesn't matter," Emily said, meaning it. The shock faded, leaving a dull ache but also clarity. "I'll take Sarah's things and load them in my car." She started for the door, but Jake followed. "Emily, wait." She paused on the step facing him. Guilt and lingering grief twisted his features. "Don't," she said softly. "I'm shocked, maybe a bit let down, but that's it. You're doing what most would, living your life." "I loved her," Jake said, voice breaking. "I still do, but I need to." "Live," Emily finished. "I get it." Lauren appeared behind Jake. "Babe, I need help with my boxes. My cousin needs his truck back by 5. Jake hesitated, but Lauren was already at a pickup truck parked on the street, its back seat and bed stuffed with boxes stacked precariously high. Despite the moment, Emily felt a pang seeing Lauren, pregnant and facing that load, reminded of Sarah's exhaustion at 4 months. "I'll help," Emily said, shutting her car door. "I'm used to boxes." "You don't have to," Jake said. "It's okay." Emily reached for a medium-sized box that seemed manageable, but Lauren's hand darted out. "Not that one," Lauren said, a touch sharp. "Pick another." Jake frowned. "What's in it?" Lauren's face relaxed. "Just old stuff from my mom in Colorado. Things from my apartment I don't need here. I was gonna mail it." "Emily's with USPS," Jake said. "She could drop it at the depot, save you the hassle." Lauren paused, reluctant. But Emily was already lifting the box gently. "Yeah, I can handle it. Saves you a post office trip." "Okay," Lauren said after a beat. "That'd be great. Thanks." Emily grabbed a shipping form from her car. She always carried extras. "Just fill out the sender and recipient info." Lauren took the form, leaning against the truck to write. When she handed it back, Emily glanced at it. "You listed a different sender address, not Jake's." "I'm keeping my apartment a few more months," Lauren explained. "Just in case. You know, moving in together, it's a big step. Want to be sure it works." Emily nodded, slipping the folded shipping form into her pocket. "Good call. I'll get this to the depot. The truck's still on track, so it'll ship tonight instead of sitting around." "Don't stress about the rest," Jake said, already reaching for another box. "I've got this covered." Emily carried Lauren's package to her car, placing it gently in the back seat among Sarah's boxes. As she settled into the driver's seat, she caught Jake and Lauren in her rearview mirror, unloading the truck together, a couple building a new life, a baby on the way. The life Sarah was meant to have. Emily pulled away, eyes fixed forward. Halfway to the USPS depot with Lauren's box nestled beside Sarah's belongings, Emily's cell phone buzzed. The caller ID flashed Detective Mike Larson's name, making her heart lurch. She veered into a strip mall lot to take the call. "Detective? Miss Thompson, we've got something. We pulled surveillance footage from 7 years back. The traffic department had it archived. You need to see this. Can you get to the station? I'm 10 minutes out." "Great. Ask for me at the desk." Emily whipped a U-turn, her grip tightening on the wheel. Surveillance footage. After years of dead ends, everything was unraveling at once. She glanced at Lauren's box in the mirror, figuring it could wait an hour. The police station, a low concrete building on downtown's north side, had a lot half filled with cruisers and civilian cars. Emily parked near the entrance, locking her car with the boxes inside. The Texas sun blazed as she rushed to the door. The desk sergeant, familiar from earlier, waved her through. "Detective Larson's in interview room 3, second door on the right down the hall." The small, windowless room held a metal table where Detective Larson sat with a laptop. Another officer stood nearby. "Ms. Thompson, thanks for coming so fast," Larson said, pointing to a chair. "This is Officer Garcia from our tech unit. He's been digging into the archived footage. You found something about Sarah?" Emily sat, her gaze locked on the laptop screen. "We found a few things. Let me show you." Larson tilted the laptop for a better view. "This is from a traffic cam at Vine and Industrial, dated November 8, 1997, the day Sarah vanished." He hit play. The grainy 90s footage showed the intersection clearly. Emily leaned in, spotting a familiar figure, Sarah in her USPS uniform, guiding her bike along the sidewalk. The timestamp read 4:47 p.m. "That's her," Emily murmured, throat tight. "No doubt it's Sarah." They watched Sarah near a multi-story building and slip out of the camera's frame. Larson opened another file. "This is from a business security cam across the street. Lower quality, but keep watching." The new clip showed Sarah pushing her bike into the building's entrance. Emily nodded. "We always brought the bikes inside. Too many got stolen outside, even locked." "Here's where it gets troubling," Larson said. He fast-forwarded, the timestamp racing through hours. "Watch the entrance. This is real time." They saw 5 p.m. pass, then 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. The grainy footage darkened as the sun set, streetlights flickering on, but Sarah never reappeared. "She didn't come out," Emily whispered. "That's impossible." Her shift ended by 5:30. "Keep watching," Larson said, voice heavy. At 11:23 p.m., a figure emerged. Emily's breath hitched. They wore a dark hoodie, face hidden, pushing a USPS bike. "That's not Sarah," she said instantly. "Too tall, wrong build." "We think so too. Now look at this." Larson switched to another clip. Traffic cam near the canal. 6 blocks away. The hooded figure approached the canal's edge. Under a streetlight, a gust lifted the hood, revealing long, wavy hair. Definitely a woman, but not Sarah. Her hair was shorter, coolier. They watched silently as the woman glanced around, then heaved the bike over the concrete barrier, pausing as if ensuring it sank before walking off. "My God," Emily gasped, hands trembling as she wiped her face. Someone hurt her. That woman took her bike and dumped it. But where's Sarah? What was she doing in that building? Who is that woman? Larson paused the video. "Those are our questions too. We need to check that building, talk to anyone who might recall seeing Sarah or recognize this woman." "After 7 years?" Emily's voice cracked with desperation. "Will anyone remember?" "You'd be amazed what sticks in people's minds with the right prompt," Larson said. "Problem is, the building number's unclear in the footage. The address is partly blocked." Officer Garcia spoke up. "I think I've got it, Detective." He'd been working on another laptop. I cross-checked 97 business listings with the visible storefronts. It's 4782 Industrial Boulevard. Larson compared it to a current map. That lines up. Nice job, Garcia. He stood, grabbing his jacket. We're going now. Emily rose too. I'm coming. Miss Thompson, it's better if you stay here or head home. This is an active case. I'll stay in the car, Emily insisted. I won't touch anything, but I need to see where Sarah was last alive. Please. Larson studied her, then nodded. You stay put. If this turns into a crime scene, we can't risk civilian interference. Got it. They left the room, Garcia staying to keep analyzing. Larson led the way to the lot, Emily trailing. She glanced at her car, boxes still inside. The image of that hooded woman dumping Sarah's bike looped in her mind. Who was she? What happened in that building? And the worst, was Sarah already gone when that woman left? Larson's Crown Victoria parked at 4782 Industrial Boulevard, a patrol unit close behind. Emily stared at the 6-story apartment complex, faded beige stucco, small balconies on each unit, blending into the valley's countless similar buildings. Stay here, Larson said firmly outside her car. Emily nodded, but as he and 2 officers approached the entrance, a memory tugged. Industrial Boulevard, she'd seen it recently. Then it clicked. Lauren's package. Pulse racing, Emily grabbed the box from Sarah's belongings and unfolded the shipping form with shaky hands. The sender's address glared back, 4782 Industrial Boulevard, apartment 514. The very building where Sarah was last seen. Without hesitation, Emily snatched the package and bolted from the car. She had to tell Larson. This wasn't chance. She rushed through the entrance into a modest lobby with cracked tiles and a reception desk where the officers spoke to an older woman. Larson turned, frowning. Miss Thompson, I said stay in the car. Hang on, please, look at this. Emily thrust the package forward, words spilling out. This is from Jake's new girlfriend, Lauren, who I met today. She's pregnant, moving in with him. She gave me this to ship to her mom. Check the sender address. Larson scanned the form, his gaze sharpening. Same address. Apartment 514. Lauren has short hair now, Emily added. Not like the woman in the video with long, wavy hair. The receptionist, a woman in her 60s with neat gray hair and a Margaret name tag, perked up. Lauren? Lauren Bennett. You know her? Larson asked quickly. Oh, yes, lovely girl. Saw her this morning, loading boxes into her car, moving in with her boyfriend, she said. Short hair. Emily pressed. Margaret chuckled. Now, yes. Chopped it off a few days ago. Such a pity, she had gorgeous long hair, dark and wavy down to her waist. I told her she'd miss it, but she wanted a fresh start. New life, new style, she said. Larson swapped a look with Officer Sanchez. He pulled out a folder showing Margaret stills from the 1997 footage. Ma'am, could this hooded figure be Lauren Bennett? Margaret peered through her glasses at the grainy images. Hard to say. That hoodie's huge. And the face is hidden. The hair looks like Lauren's old style, but she shrugged. I couldn't swear to it. How long has Ms. Bennett lived here? Larson asked. Must be 8 years or so. She was young when she moved in, maybe 22, 23. Always paid rent on time, no issues. Got surveillance cameras? Officer Sanchez asked. We do now, installed in 2000 after some thefts. Before that, Margaret shook her head. Nothing. We need footage from 2000 on, Larson said. Especially of Ms. Bennett. Of course. Margaret led them to a cramped security office. The tight space barely held them all. Margaret pulled up archived footage at the computer, following their instructions. Hours blurred as they skipped through years of routine activity, Margaret pointing out Lauren's usual morning exits and evening returns. There, Sanchez said abruptly. October 2000. Rewind. The screen showed a younger Lauren Bennett stepping from the elevator, crossing the lobby in jeans, a tee, and a dark, oversized hoodie, same style and color as the 1997 footage. Freeze it, Larson said. He compared the stills to the monitor. Same hoodie. See the pockets, the drawstrings. Plenty of people have dark hoodies, Margaret said, unsure. But not everyone lived here in '97 and kept the same one 3 years later, Larson countered. He turned to Margaret. We need to check Ms. Bennett's apartment. I can't let you in without a warrant, she said. We'll get one, Larson replied. To Sanchez, call Judge Carter. Lay out the situation. We need it fast. Do you have Ms. Bennett's contact info? He asked Margaret. Yes. She returned to the desk, flipping through a resident directory. Here, Lauren Bennett, apartment 514. She read off a phone number. Detective Larson dialed the number right away, putting it on speaker. It rang once, twice, then hit a generic voicemail. He disconnected and turned to Emily. What's Jay Carter's number? Emily rattled it off from memory, her throat tight. Everything was moving too fast. Lauren, Jake's pregnant girlfriend, tied to the building where Sarah vanished. The same hoodie. The long hair recently cropped short. The phone rang. On the third ring, Jake's familiar voice answered, Yeah, hello? Mr. Carter, Detective Mike Larson, Police Department. Is Lauren Bennett with you? Yeah, she's here. Something wrong. Before Larson could reply, a woman's voice cut through, sharp and urgent. We're running late for the doctor, babe. We gotta go. There was a rustle like the phone being snatched and the call dropped. Larson redialed instantly, but it went straight to voicemail. His face hardened as he addressed his team. We need to find them now. What about the package? Emily asked, still gripping the box Lauren had handed her. We'll log it as evidence. Larson took it carefully. We'll examine it once we have Ms. Bennett in custody. Officer Sanchez, stay here for the warrant. Search the apartment when it comes through. Officer Ruiz, you're with me. They moved toward the exit, Emily trailing. Where are you headed? To track down Jake Carter and Lauren Bennett, Larson said curtly. Ms. Thompson, I need you to I know Jake's address, Emily cut in. And if they're at an OB/GYN, there are only 3 maternity clinics around here. Larson paused, weighing her words. Get in, but you follow my orders. Got it. They hurried to the vehicles, Emily's mind racing. Lauren, kind, pregnant Lauren, moving in with Jake, starting fresh, linked to Sarah's disappearance, wearing a hoodie like the one in the footage, uneasy about that package. As they peeled away from the apartment complex, Emily clutched the door handle, praying they weren't too late. Larson's unmarked car pulled into Jake's driveway, Emily's Honda right behind. The pickup truck Lauren had been unloading was there, but Jake's work truck was gone. The house sat still in the afternoon heat, no signs of movement. Damn it, Larson muttered, stepping out. Officer Ruiz approached the front door, knocking hard. Mr. Carter, Ms. Bennett, Police Department. We need to talk. No response. Ruiz tested the handle, locked. He peered through the front window while Larson checked the back. An older man in a straw hat emerged from across the street, hose in hand from watering his garden. Looking for Jake? Yes, sir, Larson said, crossing over. Did you see him leave? The neighbor nodded, gesturing down the road. Maybe 20-30 minutes ago. Went that way. The woman was rushing him, saying they'd missed the baby doctor appointment. You know, the OB/GYN. Did they mention which clinic? Emily asked, hopeful. He shook his head. Nah, sorry. Just heard her stressing about being late. She's pregnant, nice lady. Moved in today. Hope they're okay. We just need to speak with them, Larson said evenly. Thanks for your help. Back at his car, Larson grabbed his radio. Dispatch, Detective Larson. Contact all hospitals and clinics with OB/GYN services in the area. Looking for a patient, Lauren Bennett, with an appointment this afternoon. Copy, Detective. Stand by. Ruiz kept checking the house's perimeter, finding nothing odd. Emily leaned against her car, arms crossed, watching Larson pace as they awaited dispatch. Minutes dragged 5-10. Finally, the radio crackled. Detective Larson, we've got a Lauren Bennett booked for a 3:30 p.m. appointment at Valley Women's Health Center on 10th Street. That's 15 minutes away, Emily said. Let's move. Larson was already sliding into his car. "Officer Ruiz, follow us." Emily jumped into her Honda, tailing the police vehicles through quiet streets. She kept glancing at her phone, hoping for a text or call to make sense of this. How could Lauren, pregnant, settling in with Jake, building a future, be tied to Sarah's case? Valley Women's Health Center was a sleek single-story building with desert plants and ample parking. Larson parked haphazardly at the entrance, Emily pulling up beside him. The waiting room held a handful of pregnant women. Larson approached the desk, flashing his badge discreetly. "I'm looking for Lauren Bennett. She's got a 3:30 appointment." The nurse checked her screen, brow furrowing. "Yes, she's scheduled, but she hasn't checked in. We called, she's 20 minutes late." "They didn't show," Larson said, voice tight. He stepped back, trying Jake's number, then Lauren's. Both hit voicemail. Where else would they go? Officer Ruiz asked. Larson's face was stone as he made another call. "This is Detective Larson. Issue a bolo for Jake Carter and Lauren Bennett." He gave descriptions and Jake's truck details. "Get units to all major town exits. They might be trying to skip town." He turned to Emily. "Miss Thompson, go home now. We'll take it from here. If we find them or get news about Sarah, I'll call you right away. Button. No arguments. This could get risky. Go home, lock up, and wait for my call. That's how you can help." Emily wanted to push back, but his resolve was clear. "Fine. Call me the second you know anything." Reluctantly, she returned to her car, watching Larson and Ruiz talk by their vehicles before starting her engine. The drive home felt like a dream. This morning, she was just delivering mail. Now Sarah's bike had surfaced and Jake's girlfriend was somehow involved. Pulling onto her street, her small house offered no comfort. All she could see was Sarah, gone 7 years, and that grainy footage of a hooded figure dumping her bike. Emily parked in her driveway and froze. Her front gate, always latched to keep out stray dogs, hung slightly open. She'd secured it this morning before work. Heart racing, she stepped out, scanning the street. No strange cars, no watchers, but that gate. Phone in hand with Larson's number ready, she approached cautiously. The front door was worse, unlocked and cracked open. Someone was inside. Emily nudged the door wider. "Hello? Anyone here?" The living room looked untouched, the kitchen too, but the silence felt wrong, heavy. She crept down the hall to her bedroom, phone gripped tight. Pushing the door open, she screamed. A rope dangled from the ceiling fan and Lauren hung from it, face purple, eyes bulging, hands weakly clawing at the noose. In the corner, Jake lay slumped, unconscious. Shock shattered, Emily grabbed the toppled chair beneath Lauren, clearly what she'd stood on, and shoved it back under her. Propping it gave Lauren's feet just enough support to ease the rope's choke. "Hang on." Emily climbed onto her bed, stretching for the rope above Lauren's head. The pregnant woman's weight was heavy, hard to manage. Emily's fingers wrestled the knot as Lauren gurgled below. At last, it gave. Emily lost her footing on the mattress edge as Lauren's weight hit her, sending them crashing to the floor, Emily's shoulder absorbing the blow. Lauren gasped, coughing, curled on her side, hands at her throat. Emily scrambled up, fear turning to rage. "You're not checking out yet," she growled. "You've got answers to give." She dialed Larson. He picked up instantly. "Detective, they're at my house. Lauren tried to hang herself and Jake's out cold. Send ambulances now. We're coming. Don't touch anything. Hurry." Emily hung up and crawled to Jake. He was breathing, but white foam flecked his lips. Nearby lay drug paraphernalia, a syringe, spoon, lighter. Lauren had drugged him, Emily realized, overdosed him before attempting suicide. A folded note on her dresser caught her eye, written in neat, feminine script, not Jake's messy scrawl. Emily read it, hands shaking. "You'll waste your life in pain and questions, just like I did. Her face will haunt you every night, knowing you let her down. Let the agony consume you. Welcome to your hell." Sirens wailed, growing closer. Emily dropped the note and ran to the door, flagging down the police cars and ambulances as they roared onto her street. "In here, quick!" Paramedics rushed past with gear. Larson arrived moments later, assessing the scene with calm precision. The medics worked on Lauren and Jake, checking vitals, hooking up IVs. She was hanging when I got here, Emily blurted. I cut her down. Jake was already out. I think she drugged him. A paramedic pulled something from Lauren's pocket, holding it up. Detective, take a look. It was a key ring with a bold S charm. Sarah's keys. Emily knew them instantly. Those are Sarah's, she whispered. That's her key ring. She must have used them to get in. Larson bagged the keys, his face grim. Ever notice signs of a break-in? Anything out of place? Never, Emily said. I had no clue. The paramedics loaded Lauren and Jake onto stretchers. The lead EMT approached Larson. We need to move them now. The woman's pregnant, vitals shaky. The man's got a heavy opioid overdose. Go, Larson said. We'll follow. Emily watched them wheel Lauren and Jake to the ambulances. Her bedroom was a crime scene, ropes still up, drug paraphernalia scattered, that vicious note on her dresser. Nausea hit and she barely reached the front yard, retching into her mom's rose bushes. Larson followed. Miss Thompson, we need to know how Lauren knew we were onto her. I called from my personal phone, she wouldn't have recognized it. Officer Ruiz spoke up. The only one who knew we were asking about Lauren was the apartment receptionist, Margaret. Larson nodded slowly. She must have tipped Lauren off after we left. It's the only way Lauren acted so fast. Why protect her? Emily asked, voice faint. We'll find out. And why keep Sarah's keys all these years but ditch the bike that night? Larson's phone buzzed. Officer Sanchez has the warrant. They're searching Lauren's apartment now. He looked at Emily, pale and trembling. Come with us. We're going back to that building. I think Margaret's holding back. After, we'll need your full statement at the station, everything from this morning. Emily nodded, legs unsteady as she followed to the police car. She glanced back at her house, now cordoned with crime scene tape, wondering if it'd ever feel like home again. They drove to 4782 Industrial Boulevard in heavy silence. Larson's jaw was tight, hands gripping the wheel. Officer Ruiz sat with Emily in the back, who stared out, still reeling from her bedroom's horror. At the building, Larson didn't bother with niceties. He marched to the reception desk where Margaret sat, visibly anxious. Ms. Lopez, he said, reading her badge. We need to talk. Now. Is everything okay? Did you find them? Drop the pretense, Larson snapped. We know you called Lauren Bennett after we left. Warned her we were investigating. Margaret's face drained of color. I don't know what you're talking about. We're pulling your phone records, Ruiz cut in. Cell, desk, everything. Every call you made today will show up. Tell us the truth now, or we'll have proof soon and charge you with obstruction and accessory. Do you know what Lauren did after your warning? Larson leaned over the desk. She broke into Ms. Thompson's house, drugged her boyfriend with a lethal opioid dose, and tried to hang herself while pregnant. That's on you. Margaret broke down, her neat hair falling as she sobbed into her hands. I didn't mean for this. I was just trying to protect her. Protect her how? Larson pressed. Through tears, Margaret explained. She'd taken in Lauren at 15, a runaway from an orphanage, starving and scared, who'd wandered into the building. Margaret gave her a vacant unit to sleep in, brought her food, and later helped her get a job and an apartment. She was like my daughter, Margaret cried. I never had kids. She was so broken, unloved. I couldn't turn her away. What's this got to do with Sarah Thompson? Larson demanded. Margaret wiped her eyes, looking as if a decade had been carved into her face. Lauren met Jake at a bar 8 years ago. She fell hard, but he was already with Sarah. When Lauren learned Sarah was pregnant, she shook her head. She became consumed. Said it wasn't right, that Sarah didn't deserve him, just a mail carrier, while Lauren could offer him so much more. Emily gasped, the sound raw, like a wound torn open. Officer Ruiz steadied her with a gentle hand on her shoulder. 7 years ago, Margaret went on, Lauren hatched a plan. She knew Sarah's delivery route, knew she came to this building on Saturdays. So she requested a package pickup. When Sarah reached apartment 514, Lauren killed her. Detective Larson finished, voice flat, and you helped cover it up. Margaret nodded, her face crumpling. She confessed to me that night. I went to check on her and found. God forgive me, I helped her. I should have called the cops, but I couldn't lose her. She was all I had. What did you do with Sarah's body? Larson's tone was tightly controlled. We scrubbed the apartment, replaced the carpet, repainted. I stuffed her into a big laundry bag and drove to the mountains beyond city limits. There's an old trail nobody hikes anymore. We buried her there. Emily wept silently, tears tracing paths down her cheeks. But she's not there now, Margaret added softly. 3 years ago, Lauren went back, dug her up, said she needed to keep her close, a reminder of what she'd done for love. She kept the bones? Christ, Officer Ruiz muttered under his breath. You're under arrest, Larson said, pulling out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. As he read Margaret her rights, another officer arrived to take her away. She handed over her building keys, including the master for Lauren's apartment. Unit 514, she said, voice hollow. Though she cleared out most of it this morning to move in with him, to live the life she stole from that poor girl. They hauled Margaret off in a patrol car while Larson, Ruiz, and Emily headed to the 5th floor. The apartment was nearly bare, just old furniture and a few boxes in the closet, nothing useful. Let's check Jake's place, Larson said, radioing other units. And we've still got that package. Back at the police car, Lauren's box sat in the trunk, still sealed. Larson gloved up and opened it carefully while Ruiz snapped photos for evidence. The contents hit Emily like a blow. Sarah's USPS uniform neatly folded, her name tag pinned to the pocket, her white sun hat worn to shield her face from the Texas sun, her blue mail baskets and delivery bag, her belt scuffed where her scanner clipped on. At the center, wrapped in a faded baby blanket, was an ornate ceramic urn. No, Emily whispered, voice breaking. No, no, no. Larson lifted the urn gently, the faint clatter of ashes and bones audible inside. He checked the base, where a small label read, ST 1997. Sarah Thompson. She was shipping her to Colorado, Ruiz said quietly. Ditching the evidence. But Emily stopped it, Larson said. If she hadn't offered to help with those boxes. Emily collapsed to her knees beside the car, sobs racking her. 7 years of clinging to hope that Sarah might return. 7 years of not knowing. And all along, Lauren had kept her sister's remains like a twisted keepsake. Larson knelt beside her. I'm so sorry, Miss Thompson, but we've got them now. Both of them. They'll answer for what they did to Sarah. She kept her, Emily choked out. Kept her bones while dating Jake, while carrying his child. How could she? We need to get this to forensics, Larson said softly. Verify the remains are human. Build the case. Can you make it to the station? We need your full statement. Emily nodded, dazed, letting Ruiz help her stand. She glanced once more at the box, her sister's belongings, her sister's remains, then climbed into the police car. The setting sun bathed the Rio Grande Valley in hues of orange and red as they drove to the station. 7 years of questions had answers now, devastating, soul-crushing answers Emily wished she could unlearn. The police station felt heavier, oppressive. Following Larson through familiar halls, they stopped at the forensics lab, where he handed over the box with Sarah's things and remains. Rush this, he told the technician. We need confirmation on the remains ASAP. The technician, a young woman with solemn eyes behind thick glasses, nodded, labeling and logging the evidence. I'll start now, detective. Emily watched Sarah's belongings vanish behind the lab door, a fresh wave of loss hitting her. Larson touched her arm lightly. Let's get your statement while it's all clear in your mind. 3 steps later, Officer Sanchez approached with a manila folder. Detective Margaret Lopez's interrogation transcript. Figured you'd want it now. Larson skimmed it as they walked, his face growing darker. They entered a familiar interview room where Emily had given statements 7 years ago when hope still burned. Start with this morning, Larson said, setting up a recorder. When you got the call about the bike. Emily recounted it all, the canal, meeting Lauren at Jake's, the package, the footage, finding Lauren hanging in her bedroom. Her voice cracked only once, describing the urn among Sarah's things. Larson reviewed the transcript as she spoke, asking for clarifications. When she finished, he leaned back, rubbing his eyes. "What's in Margaret's statement?" Emily asked. He flipped through. "It backs up what she said at the building. More details on how she aided Lauren over the years, how she warned her when we started digging." He paused. "Here it says, Lauren planned it all. She was convinced Sarah wasn't good enough for Jake, that a male carrier didn't measure up. Lauren saw herself as better, more deserving. Sarah was training to be a nurse," Emily said softly. "She was brilliant, driven. She was more than a mail carrier." "I know," Larson said gently. "Margaret says she regrets not reporting Lauren's plan from the start. She saw Lauren as the daughter she never had. She'd tried for kids, couldn't have them. When this runaway showed up, she thought it was destiny." "Does she say how Lauren killed her?" Larson's jaw tightened. "She found a knife later, multiple stab wounds, but claims she doesn't know the exact details." "How did no one hear?" Emily's fists balled in her lap. "Sarah would have fought. She'd have screamed. The report suggests Lauren might have drugged her first, or it happened in the bathroom where sound wouldn't travel. We won't know until we question Lauren." A knock interrupted. Ruiz poked his head in. "Detective, hospital update. Jake Carter's stable but still in ICU. Lauren Bennett's in a secure room, stable but unconscious. They saved her just. And their truck. Found at Sunny Acres Trailer Park, a mile from Ms. Thompson's house, tucked between abandoned campers." Larson nodded. "So, Lauren drugged Jake at the house, left him, hid the truck, then walked back to hang herself, all after Margaret's warning." "Why my house?" Emily asked. "Why not somewhere else?" "To wound you," Larson said plainly. "That note she left, she knew we were closing in, knew she couldn't flee pregnant, so she chose to end it her way, maximizing your pain, making you find her in your home. Pure cruelty." Emily felt ill. Sarah never mentioned a Lauren, never hinted at anyone bothering her or Jake. "I was caught up in my own world, school, work. I thought she and Jake were solid." "You couldn't have seen it," Larson said firmly. "Lauren was lurking, scheming. This isn't your fault." "When can I have Sarah back?" Emily asked. "Her remains for a proper burial. After forensics and the case close, we'll release everything to you." He stood, gathering papers. "Anything else you need now?" "I want to see Jake at the hospital. Be there when he wakes." Larson nodded. "Ruiz will drive you. And Ms. Thompson, I'm deeply sorry for your loss. But we've got them. They'll face justice for Sarah." The ride to Valley Regional Medical Center was silent. Ruiz sensed Emily needed quiet to process. Evening shadows stretched across the hospital lot as they parked. The ICU buzzed with monitors and hushed efficiency. A nurse, after checking with security, led them to Jake's room. Larson had cleared the visit. Emily stood at the window, peering in. Jake lay still, hooked to IVs and machines, pale but breathing steadily. Alive. Unlike Sarah, he'd escaped Lauren's final act. "He's lucky," the nurse said softly. "A few more minutes and we might have lost him." The opioid dose was massive. Emily pressed her hand to the glass. Jake loved Sarah, she knew, despite his flaws, despite moving on. He truly cared for her sister. And now he'd nearly died for it, caught in Lauren's obsession that had already taken one life. "When will he wake?" she asked. "Could be hours, maybe tomorrow. His body's recovering." Emily nodded, staying by the window. She thought of Lauren elsewhere in the hospital, fighting to live. The woman who killed her sister, kept her ashes as a trophy, lived alive for 7 years. The woman carrying Jake's child. What a tangled, ugly mess. But now there were answers. Now there would be justice. "I'll stay," Emily said quietly, settling into a chair with a view of Jake's room. "However long it takes, I'll be here when he wakes." She owed Sarah that, to see it through, to ensure Lauren faced the consequences. As the hospital hummed around her, Emily kept watch over the man her sister loved, making a silent vow, Lauren would answer for her crimes. Sarah would rest in peace, and somehow they'd find a way to heal from this 7-year nightmare.